The work we're doing together in the R.I.S.E Sovereign community is so important to me because of the impact it has on the world and those that I love most. Since the R.I.S E Sovereign event, I have had the most divine and powerful healings with my older daughter, with my children, with my father, with my brothers, bringing completion and wholeness to the most important relationships in my life. The children are our future. And it's up to us to address the things within ourselves, to come to a place of wholeness. If we want to change the world, we have got to get ourselves to wholeness and bring that wholeness to our families. And through that, we get to live the lives that we love while being the change we wish to see in the world. And for me, the buck stops here. The generational things that pass on through and continue to perpetrate, to pass on the chaos and the destruction and the pain, get to come to an end. And that's up to me, and that's up to you. And here at R.I.S E Sovereign, we are experiencing a level of holding and receiving and meeting each other in a way that is bringing us home. And that's why R.I.S E Sovereign is so important to me, to you, and to the world. I look forward to seeing you there.
What inspired me deeply about the R.I.S E Sovereign experience is how many people solved their loneliness. I talked to so many leaders, coaches, entrepreneurs, folks who are in charge of nonprofits, parents who are trying very, very intentionally to parent in a different way, and they feel so lonely. What we solved at R.I.S E was this loneliness, and to see so many life-changing connections, so many people who had never been in a room with that many conscious people all at the same time, working internally and watching that ripple externally completely change the way they saw themselves, change the way they saw money, change the way they're seeing resources, change the way they're seeing their kids, how they're seeing if they're co-parenting with the kid's dad or mom, or with current spouse. Wide range for both men and women. And it inspired me deeply how quickly we solved loneliness at R.I.S E Sovereign.
Came away with so much. 3 huge things. One, I realized that I have no idea what my needs are. During the cold plunge, I stepped on a thorn and I didn't have a needle to get it out of my foot. So I left it in there for the rest of the weekend. And I didn't take it out of my foot until Monday morning. As I was taking it out of my foot, I was like, it all of a sudden hit me that I'd been surrounded by like 75 people for the rest of the 2 days. And not once did it occur to me to actually ask for someone else's help. Like, that's how little I know and understand about like my needs beyond eating and sleeping. I felt so much joy at connecting with y'all and like meeting real people that when I came back to LA, I actually like was grieving really hard from being separate. And it felt like I'd moved into a paper world. It felt like my connections with people in LA were like paper, and I was living in a paper house. And I was like, I need realness. Like there's no real people here. And if there are, I don't know how to find them. This is where you guys are at, and I need to be with you. So that's really amazing, like to start creating this community that I love so much, so deeply, of all you guys who are like real, doing the work and showing up, and guys and gals. And then I realized today, Sunday, that I don't know how to receive. So I am now on a journey of a mission, I would say, finding out what my needs are, asking for them to be met, and then learning how to receive. The end.
Going into R.I.S E, so honestly, I have to laugh. I saw the name and said, duh, yeah, that's my people. But I spent the previous year on my own journey to sovereignty, and that had become my journey to my own personal sovereignty. There was no question whether or not I would come. And I didn't come with anything, any specific, I didn't come consciously with any specific challenge or anything that I was looking for, just that knowing that that's where I needed to be. It was literally a culmination of everything that I had spoken my desires for in the last year, from sitting with men and women together in that masculine and feminine harmony, the cold plunge, the breath work, down to the dance. Even when I went in, I saw you all sitting there with hug dealer shirts. I was like, shit, like this, I know what I need, that I needed to be held by men. And that one, but just as fast as Jody and Kristen ran off the stage to hold me, it was probably one of the biggest things I learned from R.I.S E is that I can have whatever I want, that I'm magnetic for what I want to bring into my life. And since R.I.S E, so one of the struggles that I've had is, yes, I know I can have whatever I want. I can, and also the container you created was something that that was probably the first time in my life that I've been able to show up fully with all the parts of me and I didn't even think for a second to hold anything back. It wasn't until after the event that I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't have to hold anything back because I could be fully seen and fully held. But some of the results that I've had, I can't even, there's so much. I don't even know where to start. Like, this will probably be my first 10K month ever. It's roughly double my best month previous to now. I've been invited to do 2 workshops at Yin on Fire. I've had to turn down opportunities to do retreats. I've got retreats booked into next year because this year is full. I was just asked to help co-host a retreat in Kona in Hawaii. And yeah, my life is, pinch me. I have the best life ever.
What I witnessed at the R.I.S.E Sovereign event was twofold. Number one, the people coming into it were the healers, the coaches, the entrepreneurs, the nonprofits, the parents, the people that are used to giving and giving and giving and giving. They love to give, and it's their nature to give, to hold space, to support, and there was a massive imbalance of their ability and their willingness to receive. And what I noticed at R.I.S E Sovereign is that we created, not just the facilitators, but everyone that was in participation, created this space where we could all return to receiving and giving and gifting. And it created this beautiful dichotomy and balance and environment where not only could we receive on levels that we hadn't allowed ourselves to receive before, but that in turn created the pathway for those that were there to step into new levels of leadership, guidance, coaching, teaching, healing, to share their gifts in a much more different and grounded way.
My primary challenge that I brought to when we had our intention was that I wanted to release any anger that led to hate, but the impetus behind that was forgiveness. I wanted forgiveness. That's what I was wanting more than anything. I've been trying so hard, and I really wanted to be able to bring that to fruition. The breakthrough I had at R.I.S.E was realizing that the anger was hiding pain, because it's much easier to deal with anger than pain. And in order to get to that point, I had to release the pain first. And the breath work was amazing breakthrough to be able to release pain. And once I released the pain, then I could start dealing with the anger and dealing with hate. And the result of that R.I.S.E was that after the last day in the sound bath and the things that I experienced during that, I really was able to forgive. That's a huge thing. But I noticed that when I went home, that my language had changed around this subject. I actually spoke differently about it unconsciously, which was huge. And so I knew that I really had started to integrate that.
My biggest challenge going in was learning how to trust myself in my intuition, knowing that I was going to be able to do what would best serve in the unknown situations. So my breakthrough happened in the breath work. When I was walking around, I was able to feel what I could do to serve the individual as they were going through their process. And it was just a knowing that happened, and to be able to trust that and walk up and do it over and over and over again allowed the integration to happen. And it was being able to have that experience over and over again in a applicable way, and to see the results that were happening immediately when I listened, and the ones that didn't happen when I didn't listen. So that was really powerful.
I come into R.I.S.E, I wasn't sure why I was coming. I just knew I was coming. And as you asked the question, I'm like, why was I drawn there? Because usually I get my answers after I've actually done the action. So it was really, I knew I was stepping more into creating more form around the facilitator and change maker that I am. And I wasn't sure what form that was taking. My breakthrough is just being reminded once again that following my intuition and acting on that creates really powerful things, and that I don't have to fix any aftermath, that's all part of the magic. Because I had a whole lot around the event that happened around me, and I was like, it's okay where everybody landed with that. So, and then the last thing, the result is I've hired a business coach, and I'm putting banks around my business as an intuitive coach and an oracle and the chalice of the feminine divine. So booyah, baby.
The intentions that I had going into the event was to experience what it's like to be surrounded by this many incredibly conscious, open-hearted, loving people. That was literally life-changing. The two other things that are related is to receive a level of safety to be me that I've never had before. And that absolutely happened at the R.I.S.E event. And then the third one was to receive more support and abundance than I can imagine. Several other of you that reached out with support, and I just felt so held and cared for, and like people really do care about me. And I was really blown away at how many people actually sat through like hours and hours and hours of my shares and like wasn't scared away from it and thanked me or like reached out in more support or like more love. And like honestly, that fed my soul so much, and I thought like maybe I'm not too much, maybe I can speak and that it's valuable to other people. And many of you have continued to reflect that back to me, and that has been really precious.
So I came in with an expectation of wanting to just kind of heal and purge and release some pain and intentionally receive, and also just get some data points of the spectrum of men of sovereignty and what you all are like, and that was amazingly helpful as well for me. Some of the takeaways there were being able to just approach and sit with discomfort in the cold plunge. The breath work helped me really release a lot of that and see myself. I don't need to be seen, I can see myself, was really huge for me. And since then, what's stuck in my head a ton is your statement, this is 100% about me because, and I've used that so much. And for other people as well, this is 100% about you because, and making me less reactive and more in like acceptance of situations by saying this is 100% perfect for me as well, as expanding on that. And then one thing Megan said was, what if I gave my body everything it needed? And that really sunk in for me.
When we think about how we go through a day, we go through a day on autopilot because our days are so scheduled, our days are so programmed, they're so busy. R.I.S.E gives us that opportunity to step back, to look at ourselves, to look at our lives, to look at our schedules, to really dive deep into what's happening in the backgrounds of our minds and bring that to the forefront so that we can show up differently. From a results basis, if you're tired of the results that you're getting, then you're having a struggle with counter commitment. And a lot of those counter commitments are subconscious. R.I.S.E allows you to review those counter commitments, but also the stories that you tell yourself in the background and really work through some of those stories so that you can have the opportunity to consciously create new stories for yourself. Some of the results that I got from the most recent R.I.S.E, even as a facilitator, was really able to look at some of the most deeply held beliefs that I had in regards to myself with a couple of key scenarios in my past that I thought I had processed. I was able to see how I was still making choices based on the story I had programmed into my subconscious from that time. So reviewing that has allowed me a lot of space really to be able to move forward with the ability to choose differently. And that's what I wanted from the event. I want for everybody who comes to the event to come away with the ability to choose differently so that you can get a different result than you're currently getting.
So attending R.I.S.E Sovereign really opened me up to just the flow and surrender of life. And I had never felt true surrender like I did at R.I.S.E Sovereign, and what it felt like to be in the true flow of life, to stop the voice inside the head, be in my heart, to see everyone else be in their heart, and to connect at such deep levels with everyone, feel the energy of the room, and just to truly surrender on so many different layers and layers and layers, so that I could show up back at home for my kids in ways I had never done before, to be present, to see them, to give them the love, to surrender to the flow of life. And so I ask you to attend the next R.I.S E Sovereign with us.